Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Kahng. I have been practicing dentistry for 12 years. I'm a practice owner, and I'm also a newish mommy. So I was thinking the other day how much my mindset has changed as to what success means to me since when I first graduated from dental school to now. So today I really want to re-examine what I used to think success meant for me versus what it means for me now, 12 years later. Before we start, if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. So I graduated from dental school in 2010, and the way I used to think about success is very different than what I think now. Back then, I think I was working towards something, working towards that DDS, and the idea of having a title, a doctor before my first name, was one of the most alluring things. I felt like it would command so much more respect and that I would have finally made it. You know, when you're a doctor, you made it. You made it. Especially if you grew up with immigrant parents. They really do emphasize the importance of having that title, being a doctor, and it seems like all the puzzle pieces come together if you do have a degree. When I first graduated from dental school, I was 23 years old, and I just did not command the same respect that some of my other colleagues were more easily able to command from their title. Unfortunately, in that year after I graduated from dental school, I realized that title I had worked so hard for really didn't mean as much as I thought it was gonna mean. Whereas many doctors lead with their credentials because they've always had the luxury to, I didn't get that benefit of the doubt. Now, 12 years later, I look back and I think it's really funny because I used to think that I was gonna be set once I became a doctor, but really that was the beginning of my journey. Because you are more than your title when you're a doctor. It's all about how you build relationships with people and how you care for them. It's not about you, it's about them. And the more that we can relate to them human to human, the better the relationships, the better the outcome. And I think that is what success means to me these days. The second thing I thought would define my success in my career when I first graduated from dental school is how much money I would make. When you first graduate from dental school, you really, the sky is the limit. So in my first year of work, I worked so hard. I dug my heels in and I worked 6 days a week, and it felt really good. I was making very good money. But at the end of the year, I realized I was so burned out. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna be able to sustain this throughout my entire career? I was already working a fast-paced environment, and I was like, do I need to just cut more crowns or do more fillings? How am I gonna be able to top this year after year? The first year into your career, it's gonna feel really different and cool to be able to make money and start to afford things. But 12 years later, you'll see that it's less about the initial money that you bring home and more about the way that you've built a career that is sustainable long-term and that really fulfills you. Now, obviously, working 3 days a week, I'm sacrificing some amount of potential income, but I am okay with that. You will reach a point where you realize there's only one you. And if you have $500,000 of student loans, which I don't have, but I know a lot of students have, you have to build a career that has longevity, because what that really means is you're gonna be practicing for a really, really long time in order to pay back that debt and also to sustain a lifestyle. And so it is one of those professions where you have to keep a good head on your shoulders when it comes to your finances. Obviously, I have some nice things, but I do not live a lavish lifestyle. And that is because I have a very good relationship with money. I don't feel like I need to have a lot of designer things in order to prove myself. And I'd rather work on having investments instead of a closet full of Chanel bags. So what I would recommend is being really realistic about how much money you want to bring home. There will be trade-offs. There will be trade-offs because you could work 6 days a week and make way more than working 3 days a week. Additionally, how can you make per hour your time at work worth more? For me, that has meant niching myself down to specifically cosmetic dentistry. I find that I'm the most fulfilled when I help people learn to smile without having to hold back. And so that is sort of my sweet spot, and that's where I've leaned in. Doing work that fulfills me more than doing like an MOD is part of the equation of how I've built up my career to feel more successful to me. And so whereas I used to think that success meant the dollar amount that I was bringing home, now it's more about having control and freedom over my career and what I want to do with it. The third shift in what I consider to be success these days is the way that I approach opportunities and the way that I think about opportunities. It is a mindset. It's a mindset. So when I first graduated from dental school, I was scrounging for associate jobs and positions. I felt like I really didn't have that much negotiating power. I pretty much took what they gave me. I would like try to negotiate a little here and there, but I felt like I just didn't have any legs to stand on. And so I was just happy to get jobs. And this mindset of feeling like you have to work so hard to position yourself and to scrounge for things, that was a mindset that I needed to have in that moment, but is not a mindset that I have anymore. What it does for you is you stay in opportunities that you've procured for much longer than you need to. And so even if an employer is not treating you properly, even if you're not appreciated, you really like try to stay in those situations much longer than you need to because you feel like there are no more opportunities out there, which I think is a huge mistake. Obviously, when you're earlier on in your career, it is important to have this like gritty mindset. But I think it's also equally as important to understand that what got you here is not going to take you there. You have to change your mindset at some point and be ready to receive opportunities and abundance. For me at this point, this abundance mentality has given me opportunities that allow me to be maneuverable. So I never feel stuck in a position. I've had jobs where I didn't feel appreciated, and you know what? I just left because I have a lot of opportunities on the horizon and I don't need to stay in an environment that does not deserve me. Because when you stay in a situation because you feel like there's nothing else out there, you're trapping yourself and that drains your energy. And you need that energy to move forward into another opportunity in life. So one of my mantras I developed when I left academia is never need them more than they need you. This allows you to be maneuverable in your career and allows you to take full control so that you can build a career that is fulfilling for you. The fourth definition of success that has changed for me came to me as a surprise. I actually thought that when I graduated from dental school, I would feel a lot more confident. I thought, oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I should be confident. I thought that I would just, be oozing confidence, but that was not the case for me. And I think that this is very different. The more that I live in life, the more I'm shocked at how many people exude confidence when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. For me, I was exactly the opposite. I had so much knowledge in my brain, but I could not exude the same amount of confidence to parallel that. And so confidence is something that I've learned I had to build. One of the reasons confidence was so difficult for me when I first graduated from dental school is that I was so young looking and patients did not receive me with open arms. They would always comment that I looked like I graduated from high school. They would always choose the other doctor with the beard. And when you always have to enter the room or the workforce with this idea that you have to prove yourself, you can never show up as your best self. The patients that get your best self are the ones that receive you for the doctor that you are, and you feel comfortable and you feel like you can be that person for them because you're not always playing the defensive. I think what I did personally when I first graduated from dental school is I started developing this doctor persona where I would talk to the patients like what I thought a doctor would talk like. I know a lot of people do this. It's like your doctor voice. You don't talk to your husband the same way you would your patients. So you talk to your patients in this doctor voice that commands authority. And I really worked on that doctor persona for a really long time. I came to this point where I realized I didn't want to keep playing this part as a doctor. I wanted to be myself as a doctor. And so then I went through this whole other transformation where I started to slowly strip this persona that I had worked so hard to build. And that's where Instagram really came in for me. If you watch my first Instagram stories, I was so buttoned up. I was just so prim and proper, and I cared so much about how other people perceived me, because that's how you have to be sometimes when you're first starting out in your career. And these days, I'm a slob sometimes. I don't put on makeup, I don't make the bed. I just show up as I need to. And I'm not encouraging this because it's not the most professional way of being. There aren't these like fake walls of like, oh, I'm the doctor, you're the patient. Being able to show up as myself, which sounds so funny, which sounds like, you know, it's the way it should be, is so weird, but also is such a milestone for me because I don't feel like I graduated at a time that was ready to embrace whatever this is. Young Asian female, I used to think that those were detriments to my professional persona. Those were all things that I was trying to make up for. However, these days, that is what I lead with because that is who I am. And this level of confidence, I never foresaw in myself being able to just show up as I am. That just feels so good. Back in the day when I first graduated from dental school, I worked a lot on my weaknesses because I wanted to be more well-liked and I wanted to be more well-rounded. I think a lot of people do that. And the more that I've grown in my career, I've realized too many people do that and not enough people actually lean into their strengths. Identifying your strengths, by the way, is not easy. There are little nuances to each strength. I had to go through a lot of therapy in order to figure out what are my strengths. Imagine being a doctor and not knowing your strengths. And this is also why I only do very specific procedures in my office, because I feel like everybody has their strengths and everybody cannot be good at everything. Now, how is this related to success? As I've grown in my career, I've realized I am good at very few specific things. You know, I've sort of like started to embrace that. Whereas earlier in my career, I used to be like, I can do it all. I can learn it. I can learn it on YouTube. I can do it. So what that would do to me is I would get caught up in trying to do jobs that were not a good usage of my time. Like, for example, I used to try to do all the IT in my office. Am I an IT person? Am I good at IT? I'm okay. You know, I can YouTube things. I can ask my friends for help. I can bring my dad in. But really what has been a game changer for me is delegating these things out to their respective experts. This helps free up my time from shit that I'm frankly not great at, but I can do, but I shouldn't waste my time trying to figure out. And in turn, this simplifies my life so that I can concentrate on the things that are important to me, like spending time with my family. When you are the type of person that thinks that they are good at everything and that tries to do everything, you spend so much of your time trying to accomplish all these little things that really do not matter in the grand scheme of your life. And I know that this is easier said than done because delegating things out costs money. But that is what success means to me, is that I'm at a point in my life where I can delegate these things out. I can pay other people to do these things so that I can live a simple and uncomplicated life. And so having people on your team is really, really important. It took me a long time to get to a point where I have people on my team. And yes, this does require money, it requires infrastructure, but you gotta spend money to make money sometimes. In the end, I think that's why most people assume that I'm very happy, which I am, but there are many years of my life where I tried to do everything and I was miserable. So get that video editor, get that manager, get that person who's just gonna help you unclutter your life so that you can focus on the things that are important to you, whether it's career advancement or your own family. I love being able to sit on my couch and know that everything's being taken care of by other people and just hang out with my baby. All right, those are the 5 things that I feel like have changed in my mind so much since when I first graduated from dental school till now. And who knows how I'll feel about these things in another 10 years of my career. I just know that I'm going in the direction that I want to go and I feel fulfilled where I am right now. And it does take hard work. It does take hard work and a lot of reflection to figure out what you truly want in this career. But it'll be worth it because this career can be really, really rewarding if you let it. But if you just stick yourself into being part of the rat race, it can also be one of the hardest professions. And just remember that all those downs are what it takes to hone the direction that you want to go in and build those ups. And so this is just a reminder that your title is just the beginning of your success in this career. It is all about what you do with your title and what you make of it. And it does take work at every step to build a career that is going to be fulfilling for you. It's not given to you. You have to build it. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.